Hi. I'm just going to wait for a few more people to jump on. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments on the side there so I can get to them. And make sure, let me know, can you hear me? Can you see me? Are we good? Hi. Oh my gosh, there's 16 of you already. Awesome. I'm just waiting for a few more people to jump in. So go ahead and leave any questions you have for me about teaching or anything in the side. Hello from Missouri. Hi. Perfect. Thank you, Dana. She said she can see and hear me. That is the goal. Alicia, yes, I've kind of I'm not on a mission for yellow buckets, but thank you. That's okay. If I get them, I get them. If I don't, it's okay. All right, I'm just going to wait a little bit more and then we'll get started. Like I said, if you have any questions, leave them in the side and I will get to them because that's what we're here for, of course. All right. This is good. Good amount. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Brianna, and I'm going to be going into my 4th year of teaching, my 2nd year in 3rd grade, because I previously taught 4th grade. Okay, sorry. Normally when I film that, I can restart and cut that out. So anyway, Laura says, what are you most excited about for this next school year? I am most excited about being in the same grade level and teaching the same thing. This is actually the first time I'm not doing anything new at all. My first year of teaching, I taught 4th grade science and social studies. My 2nd year of teaching, I taught 4th grade science and math. So the science was the same, yes, but math was the core subject. So I really had to dive in and focus on that. And then my 3rd year, I taught 3rd grade all subjects. So this will be my first year doing exactly what I did last year, except better because I have the experience and I am really, really looking forward to that. Hello, hello, hello. All right. Oh no. See, I was scrolling and then it jumped around. Ooh, 3rd grade thoughts. What do you use to teach writing? Now, I don't really have an answer to that one. In North Carolina, or at least in my county, we are not really given curriculum or anything. So we kind of just jump around from resource to resource and figure out what works best. So honestly, a lot of it is modeling, just how we could do it. And then, wow, I have not, excuse me, I need my editing so I can cut myself out. A lot of it has been, like I said, just modeling, and then the kids go and they do that. So basically coming up with it on our own. There are also YouTube videos of, I don't know the exact thing off the top of my head, but there is a series of, how to do this step of this writing, this step of this writing. We use those a lot this year. I didn't plan writing this year. My other coworkers did, so I'm sorry. I don't have a better answer on that right now. Allegra, is your new classroom bigger? Okay, so technically it's the same exact size floor tile wise. However, because the door is right where the smartboard is, it is going to be bigger because that saves a ton of space. That probably doesn't really make a lot of sense right now, but last year my classroom was flipped. If you remember, you walk in. How could we do this? I don't know. You walk into the door and you have to go this way, and the front of the room is over here. Okay. Now you walk in and the smartboard is already there. So you're walking into the front of the room. So I feel like that allows for a lot more space to spread out because that space is designated for walking, but also that's where I teach. So it's not going to be wasted space. Whereas last year, I feel like right where you entered my room was a lot of wasted space. Hello from East Belfast. Oh my goodness. Where is that? I feel like, is that in a different country? I could be losing my mind, but what do you think works best for classroom management? Definitely, my teacher brain is off. I've been watching Jen Jones all day, but thinking about reading. Classroom management. Okay. You have to model your expectations. You have to teach your expectations. You have to be consistent with your expectations. If you are teaching students a certain way to do things and you make them go back and do it over and over and over again until they do it right, they will start to just, that behavior will be familiar with them and they'll do it on their own. So, teaching your expectations, modeling your expectations, practicing your expectations, and holding your kids accountable when you're being consistent. So obviously you need to be consistent every single day. As a teacher, you need to be on every single day. And that's what I think is so challenging about teaching. But as you are reminding students what they need to be doing, it'll just come natural to them. If you tell them you want them to do a certain thing, but then you let them do it 10 other ways, there's going to be no set expectation and you're going to have many different behaviors going on because they don't know what is actually expected of them when you've let them do it different ways before. I know that's not really about kids acting out in class, but if you set that up from the beginning of the year, then it leads to less of that. And I have noticed that as my years have gone on with teaching. I have used Class Dojo every single year, and this year it was a lot easier because I had a smaller group of students. I went from 30 students to 22. So I can recognize when I've given a child a warning, and then I don't have to take a point right away. I only end up taking points for behaviors if I've already given that child a reminder, or if they know they're not supposed to be talking in the hallway, I'll take a point right away. Like that's a silly reason to be doing something like that. But honestly, like, I think it all has to do with how you lay out the beginning of your year. All right. Hi from Alabama. Roll Tide. Maybe. Hi from Michigan, Kansas. Hold on. What is the best and worst thing of teaching? Well, there's a lot. I think most of it is good. Of course, my favorite part is, I think, being able to start over every year and continue to grow and continue to learn new things and change up how you do things based on what you learned previously. The worst part is when there are those discipline problems that you just really just don't know what to do to stop the behavior. And sometimes there isn't really much you can do and you just have to deal with it. And that's pretty frustrating, especially if it's something that occurs every single day. That's tough to look forward to going into school. Ashley says, how does your boyfriend feel about the amount of money you spend on your classroom? My husband gets a little frustrated with how much I spend, but he understands that my room is my second home. Well, honestly, I haven't spent nearly as much money as I spent in the past. I feel like I only used to spend a lot of money because it was my first few years of teaching and I was trying to accumulate things for my classroom. But now that it's my fourth year, I kind of have everything I need. And I've mentioned in my videos, our PTO gives us $200 at the beginning of every new school year. So I'm trying to not go over that budget this year. So basically, I'm not really spending any of my own money. But regardless, he doesn't really care because I can still pay my bills. So as long as I'm being smart about it, I guess it's fine. Caitlin says, have you always been at the same school? If not, what was the hardest part of moving to a new school? And actually, I've had it really, really nice because I have been at the same school since I student taught. If you've been following me for a long time, I have put up a video a while ago about my student teaching journey and whatnot. It might be privated now, but at High Point University, which is where I went to college, you're supposed to spend your senior year at one school. Your first semester is supposed to be just getting accustomed to the class you're working with, seeing the way that that teacher does things, their classroom management, building relationships with the kids. And then your second semester, you're supposed to take over for the teacher and do your student teaching. Well, I still don't really know what the real reason is, but the school that I started my first semester at, I was home for Christmas and got an email saying I was getting a new placement. I was told that the teacher I was working with was unprofessional in front of me about the principal. She told me how she feels about her in front of other people, and that was unprofessional in front of me. So anyway, the principal took me out of her class because of that, and I had to go to a whole different school, and I was devastated. Oh my goodness, I should stop playing with my hair. I was devastated, but the school that I ended up at for my second semester of my senior year of college is the school that I still teach at today. So I feel like it was definitely meant to be because at least for right now, I'm in the place that I should be and I feel comfortable. So it's awesome. Shock Potato says, how long are you planning to teach? As long as I can handle it until I get sick of it. I love teaching. This is what I wanted to do my whole life. So I'm going to do it. R. Walter says, I'm a 30-year veteran of this profession and have been in the classroom from the beginning. The profession has changed, but I wouldn't change a thing about what I do. Have been in the same school from day one. Wow, that's amazing. I want so badly to find my forever school. But right now, I just don't know where life is taking me. So I don't necessarily think I'll be at this school I'm teaching at right now forever. I just, when I think about having my own kids and sending them to school, I mean, I come from New Jersey and now I'm in North Carolina, and I feel like New Jersey expectations are just much, much higher. I mean, if you look at how the schools compare across the country, New Jersey is one of the highest and North Carolina is one of the lowest. So I just feel like for my own children, I don't know if this is necessarily what I want for them. But I don't know. I'll have to go through to figure out what is actually going to happen. You're in the Czech Republic. That's so cool. Are you going to keep the donut theme multiple years in a row? I don't know. My first 2 years, I had the circus theme. And then when I changed themes, I had it in my head that I would keep one theme for a few years and then switch. But I just got sick of board games real quick. Even though I loved everything I created and it all came together so well, it just, I don't know. Like I said in my, maybe it was in my decor video, it was just overstimulating with all the colors. So it honestly depends if I get sick of it. Jenna says, do you have any advice for new teachers who are about to start with classroom setup? I feel like I've never had this question asked, but it's a really important question. Let's see. I was in my classroom last week and I'm thinking about, I would try to get your layout done and out of the way first. I don't know. Some people might not. Well, actually, yeah, because that's important, right? And then I do my bulletin boards after that. And once that's done, I can focus on how I'm going to start my year and all the planning and stuff. So when you're setting up your classroom, make sure you account for traffic flow and if all kids can see the board and things, and are you comfortable in the area that you put yourself? I'm kind of dealing with some spacing issues in my room, the way I designed it and wanted to have it. But honestly, it's hard to think of these things on the spot. I feel like I did so good last time I was here. Come up with a setup that is going to be best for your kids. Whether it's the cutest, whether it's the ugliest, whatever works the best for them is what should be your number one priority. Future SPED teacher, good for you. Advice for student teachers starting in the fall. Just be excited. Go in with an open mind. I guess the scariest part for me was how I was going to get along with my cooperating teacher. And now the fact that I work across the hall from her is just amazing. But definitely there's nothing really you can do right now to prep for that. But just know that whatever your relationship is with your cooperating teacher, it's only for a short time. And whether it's a good or bad relationship, I feel like there's still many different things you can learn. Definitely have some kind of journal or notebook or on your computer where you can take notes about things you like and things you don't like. When I was student teaching, I have a journal and I have it right over here on my bookshelf, and that dollar right there, that's from Nito, the president of High Point University. He gives everybody $1, or he used to. I don't know. Got $1 of my tuition back. Anyway, ADD over here. Have a journal and write one good thing you like and one bad thing you don't like every single day, or whatever you can, because one idea you're not going to use. That's something you can look back on and then use in your own classroom. So have a place for your takeaways. Oh, goodness. Okay. Marie says, how many children do you have in your class and do you have an assistant? I have, I believe, on my roster 21 students, and our new cap for North Carolina K3, I believe, is 22 students. Last year it was 23. So I could possibly get a new student. However, there are other third grade classes that have less students than me, so they will keep going until our numbers all match. but no, we do not have an assistant. Last year in our hallway, there was a 2-3 combo, and the combos have full-time assistants. So the assistant in that classroom did things for us from time to time. And then there was also an assistant in another third grade class for a student with special needs. And so he came into each of our classrooms once a week, but there was 7 third grade classes. So it's hard to split between one person, but no, we don't have assistants. Hello from Maine. Ashley says, you look so pretty. Thank you. This is like the first time I've done my makeup in a few days. How's Weight Watchers going for you? I'm 2 months in and have lost 20 pounds so far. Oh my gosh. Good for you. That is amazing. I am getting back into Weight Watchers. Last week, I tracked every day and I was so over, like I was in the negatives for so long. But I did go to the gym every single day. This week I am doing the 0 point challenge kind of again. I had 2 eggs for breakfast. I had a whole entire bowl of Brussels sprouts for lunch. And then I'm currently in my crock pot making some chicken tortilla soup, taco soup. I don't know, which all the ingredients are 0 points. So I'm just trying to eat healthier this week because I need to see a jump start on the scale. I know that doesn't matter, but that always does motivate me if I lose like a few extra pounds from trying extra hard that week. So hopefully that goes well. But I've been at a standstill for a year now, which is really sad, but that's my fault. Also, got a new water bottle. I talked about this in my most recent video. It's you can't see it, the Simply Modern brand on Amazon. I looked up Hydro Flask, and this one was $14 as opposed to like $50. So it's the 40-ounce one, and it is amazing. All right. Allegra says, how do you feel about flexible seating? Will you ever go full on flexible seating? As of right now, I don't have a desire to go on full on flexible seating. I really, really love the idea of students having their own desk and their own space. And I know that with flexible seating, they can have their own space, but the traveling of the materials, I don't know. I currently have a donor's choose up for some flexible seating options just for like different seats around the room. And what I really like about flexible seating is when I teach, I like my kids to either all be on the carpet with me or all be at their desks so they can see the smart board. However, when they're doing their independent work, I like them having different options where they can spread around the room and sit in different chairs and use different things. So I do use flexible seating in that aspect. Let me close my curtain a little bit. There we go. Marie, I teach in kindergarten, but a class of 3-year-olds. I love watching your videos because U.S. school system is difficult and I get to understand it more because of you. It's fun. Thanks. Well, I'm glad that's fun. I bet it's very different if you teach kindergarten with 3-year-olds. Interesting. And definitely third grade from 3-year-old curriculum is probably a huge difference, but thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth. I will definitely continue doing what I'm doing. I love YouTube. I think it's awesome that we get the option to share ideas. Danny says, what's your favorite thing about teaching? Which I kind of touched on before. I like being able to reflect on what I have done and how I can improve and how that can be completely different every single year. I feel like I've grown so much just in the 3 years that I've been teaching, and my confidence grows more and more every year. So that's just awesome. A for 10 Berry says, who is your favorite teacher YouTuber? Um, Honestly, I love watching Hello Third Grade right now. Um, but I did put watching teacher YouTubers on hold for a while just because all of that just made my anxiety heighten to the max. And so I've been watching a lot of Casey Holmes and catching up on her pregnancy because I just saw that she had a baby and I haven't watched her in years. She's like a beauty YouTuber who also vlogs. So I actually watch a lot more lifestyle now just because I can't wrap my head around so much teaching all the time. But Hello Third Grade is great because she does a ton of flexible seating. Of course, Maylene from Miss Calls Campers. Um, she always has just different creative ideas that are just new and innovative. Um, so, yes. Kay Hickson says, does your school let you keep the items you buy with the 200 they give you for school supplies, or is it to stay at the school and consider school property? Honestly, I'm sure they would let us keep it because it's like a refund of our receipts. So I keep all my receipts from everything I'm purchasing, and then I turn in my receipts, and then they give me the $200. Um, I just think with all the teachers at my school, it would be way too much to keep up with. Like, also, some people probably buy like things that could be used up that school year, so it would just be too much to keep track of it. So I would say technically it's mine. Olivia Gaston, what's the craziest thing that happened to you while teaching? Huh. Oh. I think I could talk about this now because it's been a while. Um, One time a student, we just did not get along. I don't know our personalities. She just was not about some Miss Spavensky. Um, she was sitting in the corner one day, and I was telling her that she had to get back to her seat and stop misbehaving, or I was going to call her mom. And she did not like that. And she got back to her seat, but then there was some blood all over the floor. She had like cut herself with scissors and it was like spewing blood. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it just seemed like a lot of blood in the moment. I was freaking out. I went across the hall to get my partner teacher, and this was in fourth grade at the time. And I called the office and I didn't even know what to say. I was so just like in shock. And I'm just like, I need someone to my classroom now. Um, she ended up being okay and everything was fine. And the parent blamed it on me, but we have those moments. She's good now. I guess we just didn't get along. It was horrifying though. um Hello from Ontario. Brandy says, I just got my first job teaching and I'm in North Carolina as well, and I have third grade. What county are you in? What advice do you have for your first year in third? Brandy, if you message me on Instagram, we can talk more about location. But advice for first year and third. Well, first of all, congratulations. Second of all, be ready for, at least in my school, I feel like it was a huge jump from second grade to third grade. Like just our expectations for their stamina for reading and just being able to read these intense passages and answer these questions. I feel like they did not do a lot of that in third grade second grade. And unfortunately, we have to prepare them for that for state testing. So it's a very big jump. I have some ideas of how I'm going to do that differently this year. But just be prepared to expect that they are not going to know how to do what you're teaching them, or it's going to be difficult at first. Like I had a student who made a C on his first report card in ELA, and he really struggled at the beginning of the year. But then once he got the hang of what we were actually doing and figured it out, he made A's for the rest of the year. So just be ready for them to have no idea of these high extreme expectations. I mean, it depends on your school, like I said, but I feel like that would be helpful. Nicole Bird says, are you happy with where they ended the year at? I know you had a few struggling students this past year. Definitely the ones I would tutor. Oh, how do I, hold on just 1 second, please. We need to get this out of here. Okay. Okay, sorry. Not having a moderator is kind of difficult. My students, my struggling readers, I grew them so much. I am so proud. One specifically, I just put so much attention in, and it's hard because like by the end of the year, I'm like, oh, I should have put that amount of attention in this kid too. But like, I feel like no matter how hard you try, you're not going to be able to help all of them. So I focused on this one child, and he grew so much, and I'm so proud that I put my time and energy into him because he deserved it. He had previously been retained, so he went to kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and then was with me. So, and he was still reading on a first grade level, and I'm like, so I put in the work, and it totally paid off. And our EC teachers were thrilled with his progress and just had nothing but nice things and complimentary things to say about what I did with him. And so that makes me confident going forward with struggling readers. Behavior wise, my one behavior friend, I don't know if I talked about him much, but that continued the whole year. You just learn to ignore it sometimes. Let's see. Celine, first year teacher. I have a lot of wall space and not sure what to put on it. What do you think is crucial to have posted? Depends on your county. Find out if you need to display student work in your class. Find out if you need to display I can statements. But remember that it's okay to have empty walls at the beginning of the school year. You will add things as the school year goes on, and you will see you will want that space for certain things you're teaching. Like I have all of the text feature posters of each different type of text feature that I like to put on my wall. When I talk about the 3 branches of government, I have like a bulletin board thing I like to put on the wall, displaying each of those. When we do solar system, I have the planets. So have empty wall space. The most important thing I would say is have a designated space for at least math and reading. So you can post anchor charts, vocabulary, whatever you see fit. I love having space for anchor charts, of course. And then find out if you need to have I can statements because you'll need a spot for them. Some schools require them, some schools don't. The new math program we adopted, actually, the author of the Houghton Mifflin Into Math book was like, don't tell kids what they're about to learn. Let them discover it first, which is how I was taught in college. Let them discover it and then go ahead and tell them the I can statement after to see if they could do it or whatever. But yes. What curriculum do I use? Well, we're using Into Math for math. And then we're adopting an ELA curriculum next year. So we have Ready, North Carolina is something we pull from. We kind of pull from all over. Like I said, we don't have set rules here. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm in the process of removing people. Okay. Marie says our kindergarten has classes for ages 2 to 7. And then we have elementary school for 9 years and high school for 4 years. Holy cow. That's a long time. So if they're 7 and then they have elementary school, then they're 16. So then they're done with high school when they're 20? Donna says, what is the hardest part of having a teaching channel? Editing seems so time consuming. Honestly, editing, especially sit down videos, is simple because I get right to the point and I try not to have overlaps or anything that I need to cut out. Vlogging, I can kind of sometimes go off on a tangent or I say a lot and I love to cut that out. Or I'm just sitting there with a blank face staring at the camera trying to come up with what to say. But I've been making YouTube videos since I was a freshman in high school, I want to say. So the editing part is actually like kind of pretty simple for me. I think the hardest part is I don't know. Keeping up with it, being consistent when you have other things to be doing. Obviously I want to do this. I want to be able to share with people, but like this year I did not vlog a lot in the classroom, and that was mostly because when there's like other teachers around, I just don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable. So like I guess finding the time to vlog at school, especially because I don't vlog during the school day, I vlog before or after school. Um, so just finding the time to actually film good content. Annie says next year will be my first year like elementary school. I'm so nervous. I was a high school teacher. Did you know literacy about manage and things like that for the youngest? Well, actually, I'm currently watching Jen Jones' guided reading, free professional development. It's on her Facebook. So if you go to Hello Literacy on Facebook, she has a whole professional development series on there for guided reading for K through 2, really, but it's good to hear the strategies, whatever grade you're in. So I would recommend that for you. TC watching from the UK. Thank you, Tanya. Hello from Seattle. Oh, I want to go to Seattle so bad. Kay Hickson, it's considered school property at my school. She's talking about PTO money. If leaving the school, they request the materials back and consumables that are left over have to be stored in the classroom before leaving the school. There is other things that our PTO would like buy for the grade level. Like we've gotten privacy boards, we've got different manipulatives. Those are considered property of the school. However, from the beginning of the year, $200 that they give us, I think that's just like a gift to us, which is why those don't have to stay, if that makes sense. Hi from Switzerland. That's awesome. Jaden says, hey, you're my favorite channel. Thank you. I love you and your content so much. You make me want to be a teacher someday. That's awesome. That's my goal too. I used to, when I watched Pocketful of Primary, and she would talk about how she doesn't watch other teacher YouTubers because she doesn't want to share the same things that other people are sharing. I never understood that at first, but now like I do. Not watching other people makes it easy for me to talk about what I want to talk about when I want to talk about it, and it doesn't mesh or blend with what anyone else is already doing. Is there anything that is not being addressed by teacher tubers that you would like to see? I don't know, because I haven't been searching on YouTube for ideas in a while. I mean, I started doing my centers videos, but they weren't getting as much feedback as I thought they would. So I kind of put that on hold for a little bit, but I don't know, Leslie, I'm not sure. And then Marie says, when does your school year start? In August. We start at the end of August. Other schools in the US start at the beginning of August. Other schools don't start until after Labor Day, which is like the second week of September. I'm going to go into when am I going to have children? After I'm married and have enough money. And then, would you like to be a principal? No, I have no desire for that. I just feel like I'm not as disciplinary as I would need to be, and I just love being in the classroom and teaching. All right. On my Instagram, going back to these questions, starting with 6th, asked if I have any reading strategies for ELLs, which is English language learners, students who come from a different country or have just grown up speaking a different language. The things I've used in the past are lists. When you give students directions, especially students who are who don't speak English as their first language, you need to list out the directions step by step so that they can take their time to comprehend and take it all in and see it. That's really been most helpful for me when I've done it when I've worked with those students in the past. Leslie also asked, will you be coaching robotics again this year? Yes, I am. And I'm so excited because we're dropping from 7 teachers to 6 teachers in 3rd grade. So we're going to have an empty classroom so I can store all of my robotics things in the empty classroom. And that just makes life so much better. So I'm very excited about that. Melanie, your child sent that. What is your favorite store to get clothes from? Recently, I don't go to the mall much when I'm in North Carolina because I don't know. None of my friends like to shop here. I don't know. And honestly, I've been going to Old Navy for the longest time. So Old Navy's always good. However, their things are very like repetitive, just with different patterns, and they shrink extremely easily. So I'm in the process of going through my closet actually. But when I was home in New Jersey, I went to the mall and I went to Express, and my goodness, I love Express. So I need to go there more often. Also, American Eagle for like summer clothes. They have really cute tops. Baz, my favorite subject to teach is math, most definitely, just because that's what comes easiest to me. Also, science is really fun, but can sometimes be a lot of mess. Future sped teacher, thank you so much for posting your experiences. Love your channel. Please keep doing the classroom setup videos. Thanks for all you do. I definitely will. The classroom setup, I feel like, is my thing. Like, I know that so many other people do it now, but that's what grew my channel so much. If you go see my most viewed video, it almost has 700,000 views. And I watched it the other day and I'm like, is this even that like entertaining? But I've done it every year since that was my 2nd year of teaching. So it's definitely something that I look forward to sharing with you guys. Leslie says, do you have a goal for the year for yourself? Yes, my goal this year is to accomplish guided reading. I tried it so many different ways this year and never stuck to it, and it was just all over the place. And so I'm trying to get as much information about it as I can this year because I really just want to help my students grow next year. So my goal is definitely guided reading. Melanie says, how do you handle anxiety? So I've touched on this a little bit on my channel, but in January, actually, I've talked about I feel like everyone says, oh, that makes me so anxious. That gives me so much anxiety. But that's just kind of like butterflies in your stomach nervous. But there is a whole different type of anxiety out there. First of all, when you work out or you run and then you stop running, and for a while your chest is just like your heart is beating fast and you're just trying to catch your breath. Well, there are moments that I have anxiety that I just feel like that. Like I've been sitting on the couch and all of a sudden I feel like I'm trying to catch my breath, which is just so bizarre to me. And then there's other times, and this hasn't happened in a while, so knock on wood, but there are other times when, and this is what happened in January, when my anxiety is in my head and I feel like cloudy and like I can't even function. It's just the weirdest feeling, and I haven't felt it in a while, so I can't even describe it right now. So thank goodness. But how do I deal with it? I did go to the doctor and I got some medicine, but the only reason I got medicine is for those extreme cases, because this one night I had this horrible anxiety attack, and like I just felt like I could not feel outside of my body. Like I just felt tingly all over, and I could feel like everything that was going on inside my body. It was the strangest thing. It was January, like I said, so it was cold, like 40, 30 degrees outside. I don't even know. I went outside in shorts and a t-shirt and just went on a walk because like I wanted to feel cold. I wanted to feel outside of my body. Honestly, I just try to push through it. There's sometimes where you cannot push through it at all. Like you just, I, like, there's another point I had to leave school because I was just so overwhelmed. That was right after that anxiety attack, though. I think I had anxiety about having another anxiety attack, which is so awful. But anyway, I got medicine just for those moments where it's so bad, because I don't want to have to leave school because of it. But lately I've been fine. So I don't know. Like I try to think about like what gives me anxiety, but sometimes there's just some moments where I'm just like, whew, out of nowhere. And there's no describing it. So I have little moments where I do feel anxious, and those moments I try to push through. If it goes on for over an hour, then I resort to the medication. But I mean, yeah. But also, like I said, I've tried to not be so into teacher Instagrams. I've tried to stop watching teacher YouTubers because I thought that was what was causing me anxiety. But I've been good lately. So let's just hope that continues. Michelle says, found your channel and I love watching you. I've been teaching for 20 years and you've given me so many great tips. Thank you. That's amazing. Sometimes like I don't realize how much I actually share or if I'm actually giving any ideas at all. So thank you. Marie, yes, your classroom setup videos are entertaining, especially when our classrooms have like 2 boards and no reading corners and teachers don't spend their money on classrooms. Like so awesome. Oh, I'm sorry. And hello from Louisiana. All right, back to my questions over here. Oh, everybody keeps asking me what program and what website I use to design my classroom. Guys, it's PowerPoint, and I have a whole video on it. And I walk you through how I set it up and how I design my classroom. So it's just PowerPoint and using the shapes and things. It's nothing extraordinary. So Ashley, I do not see your question. Can you put it back, please? And then someone asked, what are your classroom essentials in 3rd grade? Definitely manipulative. And I am so happy that I teach 3rd grade math because there's just so much you can do with hands-on things, and that's one of my favorite things to do. So fractions, I have the fraction towers. I have magnetic fraction circles. I have magnetic fraction bars. Um, we have, there's Cuisinart rods. There's Legos. Um, there's tangrams. There's pattern blocks. Um, Hi, Justin. That's awesome. There are base 10 blocks. There are place value discs. There are just so dice, counters. There's so many different things you can do with manipulatives. So those are definitely a necessity. I think that's what your question was. Sorry. Let me go back. Classroom essentials in third grade. Whiteboards, again, for math. Having that space to just, every child pulls out their whiteboard and be able to just write and show you a response, and it's quick. Those are definitely a necessity. Thinking about other things I have. I mean, I love centers, but you know, they're not a necessity, but they make learning much more exciting. Tracy, I'm just joining, but I've been wanting to know what math curriculum you use in your school. We are starting to implement Eureka this year, and I'm terrified. Wow, you are a little late on the Eureka bandwagon. It's also called Engage New York, which we implemented a long time ago. I think before I even started teaching. And I mean, I've used it. It's good. However, it uses certain ways to teach that, and different strategies that students might not see on their state testing. So then it's just kind of like, well, you wasted all these days going through how to do this specific strategy that you're not really actually going to see. But it definitely breaks down math. It focuses a lot on place value because it loves to use word forms for numbers, which I don't think, like, yes, understanding place value is important. However, being able to do it for everything you think about, I think is kind of a little crazy. But we use Into Math. Well, we're going to use Into Math. In the past, we've used Ready, North Carolina, mixed with some Eureka, mixed with some Find It in a resource and use it. Is how we roll in North Carolina. Ashley said, how long have you been teaching? This will be my 4th year. I just started my channel and I will be setting up my classroom first year. So where do you recommend to start first? It seems so overwhelming. I mentioned this earlier as well, Ashley, but start with your layout. And don't be afraid to move something somewhere and then move it in a completely different location. Yes, that'll be a lot of work, but don't just settle for something in one spot. Like the way I designed my classroom, I had the library. If this is you walking in, and here's the front of my room, I had the library over here. That's how I had them set it up. However, I took it and I moved it to this corner and my cubbies are here. So, and I don't even know if I like that. I might have to move it back. But play around with your layout a lot. If you watch my classroom design video, you can play around with it on there and that might be helpful for you. However, I've made a few different layouts and I feel like I still won't know until I've moved everything and then officially decided. Melanie, can you make a video on your current makeup routine? I'm in the process of trying different foundations, but I guess that doesn't really matter. So yes, if you're interested in that, I definitely could do that. This is one eyeshadow on my eyes, by the way. I think that's just so amazing because I used to use so many. Lisa, are there any skills you feel your third graders lack when they come to you? As a second grade teacher, I'd like to make sure we send them to third. 100% prepared. You are amazing. Thank you, Lisa. Wow. Well, I feel like second grade is a huge year for place value understanding, and we kind of like rush through it in third grade. So make sure they have a good knowledge of ones, tens, and hundreds. Um, and then reading wise, don't be afraid to challenge them, because I feel like our second graders are definitely challenged in math at my school. However, in reading, it's just, I feel like they're doing much more simple cutesy things, which is totally okay, but you can still do cutesy things in a challenging way. That way, they're not as shocked when they come to third grade and they have really long passages with tough words that they have to like sift through and figure out and respond to. Um, but I really appreciate that, Lisa, because I think it would be great if more grade levels could plan across the board. We try to do that in our literacy team and our math team, but it doesn't always work out the best. Trying to think if there was anything else. Lisa, if anything pops into my head, I'll let you know. But like I said, don't be afraid to challenge them. They're very smart. They can do much more than some people think. Ah, there's a spider on my shelf. What? I don't think there's a spider on me. Please don't. Please don't do that. Okay. Hold on. I'm moderating. Annoying. I'm just trying to give some teaching advice here, people. Goodness. Lori, hello. I teach 8th grade science and I enjoy seeing your videos, even though middle school is very difficult in some ways and other ways not so different. That's awesome. 8th grade science. I don't remember what I learned in 8th grade science. The only thing I remember is one, my teacher said he had this sign next to his clock and he's like, if you watch the clock, time will pass, but your grade won't, or something like that. Why are people telling me there's spiders? I'm very disturbed. I'm very disturbed. All right, lad. Well, you're going away. Karen, you said you have a degree in STEM. Why didn't you pursue a position as a full-time STEM teacher? Okay. I've always wanted to be a classroom teacher my whole life, and I got the opportunity when I went to High Point University to choose between literacy or STEM as my focus for my master's. And I went with STEM because I feel like that's up and coming with technology and things. So I thought that would be most just helpful in the world that we live in today. And I love hands-on things. So it was just like right up my alley. And I don't want to be a STEM teacher because I love having my own kids and I love teaching all subjects. So I'm glad I have that background, but these people got me thinking there's spiders all over me and I don't even know what to do with myself. So disturbed. Anyway, I'm glad I have.
It's 5 o'clock.
Thank you. I'm glad I have the STEM background, but I don't want to be a teacher for many different students and just like, yes, I love STEM activities, but I could not see myself doing it all day, every day, because that's just a lot to handle. So People got me thinking there's spiders on me, guys. You know when you have to do like lice check at school or something and then you feel like your head is itchy? That's how I feel right now. Oh my goodness. Yes, Danny, that's what I was going for there. Thank you. Maria, I went into my classroom and filmed like 2 clips last week. I'm also going into my classroom tomorrow and I'm going to see if I can continue going in because typically we're not allowed back until August 1st. But I mean, my school, like the floors are waxed in my hallway and I was in there and my principal was there and he didn't tell me I had to leave. So hopefully sooner rather than later. Thank you, Sabrina. I don't know if you have a need for them, but Michael's has the rainbow task card holders for less than $15 now. They are the photo holders. I have 3 of them, and I think I'm set for now. Thank you so much. But if anybody needs the task card holders, let me show you. Let me show you what they are. Here's the rainbow ones. I have the clear ones too, but they just look like this, and they actually have these at the dollar spot too. I have random things in my rainbow one. I don't think I need any more right now. I really just want like an ELA one and a math one, and then I'll be set. I'm trying to minimize this year. I think that's another one of my goals this school year is to clean out the things that I do not use. Oh, Sabrina, congratulations. I'll be teaching K through 2nd. How does that work? How do you teach many different grade levels at once? But thank you. Lori, I have a couple of the Simple Modern bottles. They're awesome. They keep things cold all day. It definitely keeps it cold. However, my ice does melt like right away. So I'm not sure why that happens because the water does stay cold. But other than that, it's great. Thank you, Danny. I'm glad there's no spiders because there was a giant, like 1,000-legger thing in here the other day on the floor when I was tutoring, and the child was like, there's a dead bug on the floor, and I looked at it and I'm like, I don't think that's dead. I covered it with a cup and let my boyfriend clean it up. And it was dead by the time he cleaned it up, which was good. Give some examples of how you handle behaviors. I can't recall whether you've mentioned behavior issues in any of your vlogs, so I just wondered how you manage that. Okay, so I think this year I kind of stopped focusing on student behaviors or just like talking about students in general. I don't know, I just wanted to step away from that. But I feel like I had a really good class this year. Like, the little behaviors I had were kids calling out and one child who never did any of his work. But like I said, give the kids your expectations if they're not following your directions. Like, give me a situation and then I'll tell you how I would handle it. How about that? Right? Some kind of situation that's happening in the comments, and then I'll let you know how I would handle it. That would be easier for me to come up with something. But I really am a firm believer in the punishment needs to match the behavior. So if the child was using a Chromebook and they were off task, if it was a simple off task measure, I don't know if that's the right word, I would give them a warning. But if it happened again, I would take the Chromebook away because that would match the behavior. Danny, I currently kind of have access to my classroom now. It's iffy, but I'm going to go tomorrow and see how much access I can actually have. Ashley's Happy Nook has a new channel. Oh. Honestly, Ashley, I think it's hard right now. There was a time when there was not a lot of teacher YouTubers. And our channels kind of all grew at different rates and whatnot. I've been around for quite some time now, but it's hard if you're starting out new, especially on YouTube now because there's so much. You just kind of have to put out what you want to put out and hope that one of your videos will take off. But these people love classroom setup videos, so Ashley's Happy Nook, guys, go send her some love. I don't know. If you want, you just got to try different things. Because with analytics on YouTube now too, you could see, it's actually really neat. You can see how long people watch your videos, how many subscribers you gain from one video. So that kind of helps you decide like what people are mostly liking, and then you can kind of make more videos based off of that. Sabrina, I teach at a Christian school, so we have multi-grade classrooms. That's interesting. So do you just teach in small groups, Sabrina, all day? Karen, I've been a regular ed teacher for over 25 years. This year I'm going to a new position as a K-5 STEM teacher. Any advice for organization and handling several grades? Well, first of all, Karen, do you have a classroom or are you going to be traveling with a cart? Look at that, Ashley. You have a subscriber. If you have your own teacher channel or you want to start your own teacher channel, you kind of just have to do it and put out videos as if a ton of people are watching you. Like 38 people are watching me right now, 39, okay? And that may seem so small, but that's actually like a lot. Like look at how long this conversation is going just with this small amount of people here. So like you're still making an impact regardless of how many people you're reaching. You just kind of have to do it, and then hopefully if your content is good quality and you get to the point, then more people will come. My favorite children's book. Humpty Dumpty, After the Fall. It's a picture book. It's not called Humpty Dumpty, but it's about Humpty Dumpty after the fall. I think it's just like an inspiring book. Oh my goodness. Chapter books, I have to read more of. I really, 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 really love George Washington's Socks. And actually, something I want to do this year with my read alouds is I want to be extremely intentional, and I want to read a book from every single different genre to expose my kids to all of that, to kind of like send them off to find what books they like to read. Because when I read Wayside School, they all wanted to read Wayside School because it was so funny. When I read The Wild Robot, I feel like I should have given them recommendations of books that are just like that. So that is that. You teach the first and second grade together. Interesting, Sabrina. You go by odd and even years. Jeremy, do you mean like just book in general? I don't do a lot of reading. I usually read like 1 or 2 books over the summer, but I haven't really been to the beach this summer, so I'm not there. Kenneth, how are you doing lesson planning this year? I don't know. as team lead, I guess that is my decision. I basically have a whole new team. We're hiring one more teacher. It went from 7 of us to 3 of us because people left and got new jobs and moved to different grade levels and whatnot. Big changes. So there's only going to be 6 of us this year. We've hired 2 teachers from another school, and they are veterans and they're awesome. So I'm really excited about that because I didn't want to be left in the dust. Well, one's a veteran. The other one is fairly new. So hopefully I can make a new friend. But besides the point, in the past, we've split up into teams of 3. So last year I planned math, science, and social studies, and then the other team planned reading and writing. However, we talked about how we don't like not planning everything. So I guess I'll just have to talk to my new team and see how it's going to go. Like I said, I'm trying to plan science and social studies this summer, so it could be good lessons that the kids will enjoy, and it doesn't get put to the back burner. But we will see. Have you heard of the first chapter Friday? I want to implement that in my 6th grade class this year. Nope, I have not heard of that. Did you find it easy to work with colleagues as a first-year teacher? I'll be new to my school and city. Oh my gosh, yes. I think because you all have a common goal and you're there for the kids and you're all doing the same thing, it's very easy to get along in those ways. And then over time, your personalities just come out and you just interact with each other every day. Like it just comes so naturally. That's been one of my favorite parts about teaching, actually. Just the relationships you build with your coworkers. Okay. Do you supplement your pay? Israel, I'm not sure what that means. Can you reword that? Explain to me what that means. As far as I know, I have a classroom. Okay, that's good that you have a classroom, Karen. I think the easiest thing you can do for working with different grade levels is kind of either have the same activity plan for all of them or the same planned K2 and then 3-5 or 3-6, whatever you said you do. That way you have the same materials. However, you can extend it for the higher kids or do an extra part of it for the older students is what I should say. I think that would be easiest material-wise, cleanup-wise, prep-wise. If you're doing something along the lines of the same activity, it would make your life so much easier. Nina, any advice for a first-year teacher teaching 3rd grade? Advice. Oh, sorry. I'm reading like 3 messages at once and thinking about responding to a text message. So anyway, advice for 3rd grade teachers. I said before, Nina, if you go back, actually, I don't know if you can go back. I don't know. I mentioned something and I can't think of it right now. Oh, be prepared for them to have a very difficult beginning of the year. It's going to be hard, especially coming from summer, like any grade level, jumping right back into school. You're going to have to take baby steps for them, especially with like reading, for them to build that stamina back up, for them to be ready to just thrive. I feel like a motivational speaker. Model everything. Just because they're 3rd grade and they're independent does not mean they know how to do it. Model it all. Jade, I did not see your Instagram message about the neon donut sign, but Jade, you are the one who gave me the popcorn labels, aren't you? Hello, I haven't seen you in a very long time or heard from you. Oh, and it's $20. I have to go get it. Is this at Target? Look, guys, it's a neon sign and it's a donut. Oh my gosh. I have to go to Target. That, like, such an unnecessary thing, but so fun. That's awesome. All right, pause for a moment. Let me respond to this text message because I don't like not getting back to people. Okay. Dwight, what was the one of your funniest moments being a teacher so far? Huh. When, oh, I was singing some song and it was a song from a very old show that these kids shouldn't know, or like not shouldn't, but like wouldn't know because it didn't air when they, and I don't, oh, Little Rascals. It wasn't a song. Yeah, maybe it was a song. What's the part about the pickle? I don't know how this came up. I think I was eating a pickle and I was like, I got a pickle, I got a pickle, I got a pickle, hey, 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 hey. And one of my students started singing it with me. And I'm like, you know the Little Rascals? Like, that is just wild. That was pretty funny. I love laughing with my kids. My kids made me laugh so much this year, and it was just amazing. Sabrina, what are some things you do on the first day of school? I'm a big fan of teaching expectations and procedures through activities of other expectations that you need to teach kids. I haven't wrapped my mind around it quite yet. One thing I did last year, no, 2 years ago, that I didn't do last year was do a scavenger hunt. I have to look up. I'll have to try to find it, but like a scavenger hunt around the classroom so they can move around the classroom and figure out where everything is, and just find my expectations. Like, I think one of the things on the scavenger hunt was, where's one place you cannot go? It's Miss Pabensky's space, and it was behind my desk. Where's the pencil sharpener? Where do you turn in your work? Had it as a game instead of, this is where you do this, this is where you do this, because that's no fun to sit through. But I like to read a book. This year I'm also going to give them, maybe not on the first day, but I want to give them addition and subtraction, like a little pretest thing, just to figure that out real quick. We talk about, obviously, rules or expectations. We walk around the whole school just to learn how to walk in a line again. That's very important. How do I use behavior management? Honestly, I keep going back to, it's all about how you set your classroom up at the beginning of the year. Give those kids your expectations and hold them to it, and then they don't go out of line as often as they would if you didn't tell them what they should be doing in the beginning. Do I have any tips on writing lesson plans or any books? Actually, I'm sorry, I didn't go into that. We use Planbook because you can share among teachers that way. It's also online, so you can easily add links and everything. So, and it's like $13 a year, $15 a year, or something like that. Books for lesson planning. I use Personal Planner just because I work with them all the time. Let me get it. Oh, my big one. Oh, my big one's right here. So these are the two. This is my original one, and it's huge, and it's completely customizable. But what I would do is, this is where I would shorthand, I guess you can call it. I would map out really simply what I was going to do in each subject. But I definitely like planning online easier. Oh, also, all my recent videos, I'm talking about how I'm planning. In a Google Doc, add links, add videos, add websites. You can highlight things different colors and change it all around. And as you're going through your planning, you can like erase things or get rid of highlighting that you didn't need. I made a whole video about how I was planning my science unit. So go check that out. But on a Google Doc, it's so much more helpful. List out all the things you want to accomplish, especially in science and social studies, like different activities you want to do, and then you can rearrange them, copy and paste, and that's much easier than pencil and paper, I think. Every Friday you read a chapter. Oh, I thought First Chapter Friday was a book, but then I saw on someone's Instagram post, they just posted it. You read every Friday, you read a chapter from a different book or from the same book. Since this is your second year as a third grade teacher, what are some things you plan to do differently? I plan to do, well, now, like teaching math, I see just like things I have to go about differently. The biggest thing is reading, annotating, reading a passage and answering the questions. I think I've finally gotten down how I want to do that. I want my kids to look at the questions first, figure out their purpose for reading, because those questions give them that purpose, and then they go and read, and anything that reminds them of the questions, they can underline. I have to remember how my coworker told me, because she was a reading specialist for years and she is amazing. So definitely how I teach them to annotate is going to be completely different. No little question marks, no little fun marks, no pulling, just annotating on the side of every single paragraph. It's just a waste of time. And so I think that will be really, really, really helpful. But I also want to do guided reading differently and actually do it this year consistently. You read the first chapter of a different book. I think it will excite the kids to see different books and can start good conversations about hooks and openers. Oh, that is really neat, to read a different chapter from a different book every Friday. That's a really good idea, because then you don't have to think about rushing through all the books. Meet the teacher night. What to expect, what not to worry about. Don't worry about anything, because I think it's an awkward situation for everybody involved. Like, everybody is nervous. No one knows what to expect. Parents are putting their children in the hands of some random person. But I love having their take-home folders with all of their papers in it. And the first thing I do when I see them is I'm just like, hey, I'm Miss Pavensky. It's so nice to meet you. Here is your desk. Here is your take-home folder. This is really important. You need to bring this to and from school every single day. So right away, I'm giving them one of my expectations. Their parent or guardian is right there, so they are hearing I'm giving this information to both of them. I open it up, we have a return to school side and a keep at home side. And I explain that to them right away because we're using that all year. And I say, these are things that you can just look through and keep at home. And then these are the things that need to be signed and returned to school. And if you can bring them back on the first day of school, that would be so amazing. And then I say, you can walk around the room. I might do things differently this year. I don't know. Maybe like give them like a little kind of like scavenger hunt thing of places, every spot I want them to go around the room. But it's really like a quick thing. Like they come in, they definitely have, which I never knew was a thing. Maybe it's because I've been out of elementary school for quite some time. But I have kids who bring supplies. So find out from your coworkers if students bring their supplies, and we use the paper boxes that the reams of paper come in. And I label those so kids can put their supplies in there. Definitely decide first though what supplies you want kids to have it like to themselves and what you want them to share. I hope that person who always yells at me about having community classroom supplies doesn't come yell at me right now. But definitely somewhere for them to put their supplies. Like I collect their pencils, their expo markers, their highlighters, because they're all the same thing. Kids don't care. And if they really have a problem with it, they can keep it for themselves. It's fine. But yeah, don't worry. I know it could be like very nerve-wracking, and I will probably be nervous in the moment, but just be more excited. Parents some of them are just going to say like hi and not want to talk. Some of them are going to want to tell you their child's whole story. But usually I have a few come at once, so I kind of need to bounce around, and they know that, and that's fine. I am teaching third grade, and I'm not really gonna talk about that. So bye. As a student teacher, should I invest in PD before getting hired? Absolutely not. College should be your PD. Please do not do that. Tutoring is going really well. I actually have to plan for tomorrow. That's a car driving by. That's really creepy. I have to plan for tomorrow. I have to find some word problems and figure out what's really going to go on. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Whenever people say behavior management, I instantly go to the negative, and I know that's so bad, and that's not what I do at all. I just I forget to talk about the positive. Thank you, Dwight. What do you do to recognize positive behavior? Do you still use Class Dojo a bit, or have you gone off of Class Dojo? Okay. So for Class Dojo, I definitely give out so many more points than taking them away. And then at the end of the week, we have what's called Fun Friday, which is really just indoor recess, an extra indoor recess on Friday. If the kids had 80% or above, 80% or above, they get to participate in Fun Friday. And I feel like I could do something extra next year. Like I used to do coupons in fourth grade. It was a lot to keep up with, but every time they would reach a total of 50 points, they got to pick out a coupon. That would help them want to really work for those positive points. But yes, I do just give points. I love to message parents and say so-and-so had a great day. But I celebrate it with the kids just like with words, like we talk about how good they did. And I definitely could do more. So I may incorporate coupons back in because kids go crazy for coupons. The only thing is like I would take a few out, like switch seat with a friend for a day. It's just a lot. Because then you got to be like, okay, well, your stuff is in this desk. So like you got to, I don't know. So I think with the coupons, it would make them want to earn more positive points. However, with my class this year, like I would say, oh, my best center group is going to earn 2 points today. And they would be so wonderful, but like earning points really didn't get them anything because if they weren't getting any negative points, then they would be able to participate in Fun Friday anyway, but they didn't recognize that. So I'll do more this year. How did you find your tutoring clients? They were actually students of mine. Um, Twins. They were students of mine, but they left halfway through the school year to go to private school. And so the mom just reached out to me. And so it just worked out like that. Grace, do you like fourth or third better? I love fourth grade science. Is so fun. The rock cycle, fossils, I love that stuff. But overall, I really like third. I love the math in third because it's so much more basic and hands-on. I think reading in third is definitely interesting. I think it's very similar to fourth, but when they get to fourth grade, learning the comprehension skills for reading, they have their background knowledge from third. So I feel like it gets a little bit easier as they go on. Third is like we're your first like, hello, this is how you comprehend a text. These are all the different strategies that can help you become a better reader. And it's a lot. But it's definitely cool to be a part of that process in that child's life. And then science is okay. It's definitely not my favorite in third, but overall, I like third grade better. Students' attitudes, much better in third grade. They're much more sweet. They still have their sweetness and they still have just good little attitudes. More towards the end of the year, I noticed they were turning into fourth graders, but for the most part, like I would get random hugs all day. That never happened in fourth grade. Blah, blah, blah. What do you miss most about being departmentalized? I think what I miss most actually is having a team teacher who has the same kids, and so you can kind of like get together and drown in talking about your children. And they get it. If you're struggling with a student, they understand. If you have a really funny student who made a funny joke, they will understand. Whereas, like, if you're trying to share something that happened in class to your coworkers, they don't know that student as well, so it might not be as like funny to them, if that makes sense. I was going to say planning, but like honestly, I didn't plan it. Like I only planned 2 subjects again this year, so wasn't very different. We'll see how that changes next year though. I use Maylene's coupons for dojo. Kiddos love them. Yes. I really love how Maylene switches her coupons out, and she has come up with a lot of them. So I'll need to look into all of her different ideas and then make some more of mine. I have coupons as well, but I could diversify them. How many children will be in your class? I will have 21 as of right now, and we do not have assistants. If you had to teach a different grade than you've taught before, what would you pick? I'd probably pick second because kids are still independent and they've been in school for a few years, so they kind of understand expectations of like being in school, how to read. But I think second grade math is really fun too. And then just getting more basic skills in reading, but not too much. I think that's fun. I always used to say I would never want to teach kids how to read, but working with students, I've really learned to enjoy that. So definitely second. Also, there would be no testing. So that is that. Any last minute questions? Because I think I am going to jump off here. I've been on here for quite some time. Thank you all for joining me. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. So if you want me to do more of these, I don't know. Let me know. Thank you for listening to me ramble, and thank you for sticking with me as I process a few of your questions. It's hard to go live and just let it all out, you know? Danny says, I know who Maylene is, but you tell the others. Maylene is Miss Calls Campers. I talk about her all the time. She's my great friend. All right, so I'm just going to stay here, see if anyone has any other questions. If not, thank you for coming. I hope I gave you some good ideas this time. I'll do more live Q&As. I'll have my mind set better next time. Maybe another cup of coffee would help out too. All right, I'm going to sign off. Thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because then it'll be popped up on your computer. Hey, I'm going live, and that'll help you out.